There have been plenty of fascinating James Bond theories over the years, with one intriguing idea linking Skyfall back to the Pierce Brosnan era. As a franchise that has continually evolved since Sean Connery first portrayed 007 in Drive No back in 1962, the way Bond has been updated for every subsequent generation means that there's a lot of history and lore to this iconic espionage series. Since different actors portraying Bond throughout the years and the franchise receiving a hard reboot in Daniel Craig's Casino Royale, it's understandable that viewers want to find a way to link everything together. The longevity of James Bond means that viewers have a lot of time to speculate over fan theories that add depth and intrigue to this series, originally created by author Ian Fleming. Ideas such as James Bond simply being a codename that's passed on from one agent to another help bridge the gap between different eras, and the performances over multiple films, like Desmond Llewellyn's Q and Judi Dench's M, add credence to these wild suggestions. Although many theories fall apart upon closer inspection, one idea linking Brosnan and Craig's Bond feels incredibly plausible. James Bond theory reveals Raoul Silva is Pierce Brosnan's Bond. The theory saw Bond turn bad after the events of Die Another Day. One Reddit user by the name of Flichaggio has proposed a fascinating theory that not only suggests Die Another Day and Skyfall were part of the same timeline but also proposes that Raoul Silva was actually Pierce Brosnan's Bond. While this might sound absurd upon first hearing it, the timeline adds up when considering that after Bond was tortured in North Korea, Brosnan's 007 went rogue and sought revenge in China. Having become a danger to MI6, M was forced to give him up to China in exchange for prisoners and stripped him of his codename. With Bond feeling betrayed by M, he reverts to his original name, Raoul Silva, and is forced to endure unimaginable torture at the hands of the Chinese. Without anything left to live for, Silva attempts to take his own life and swallow cyanide, yet this only leads to the restructuring of his face, which accounts for the physical differences between Brosnan and Javier Bardem. In the meantime, M recruits a new agent, played by Craig, who is given the codename 007, and the events of Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace take place. While these years pass, Silva only becomes more embittered and swears his revenge against M before finally escaping and setting in motion the events of Skyfall. Silva even tries to convince Craig's Bond to join him and destroy M, knowing how quick she is to betray once loyal agents. In the end, Silva actually manages to achieve his goal and kill M, showcasing Brosnan's Bond's irredeemable transformation into a hardened villain. What the Raoul Silva Pierce Brosnan theory would mean for James Bond as a franchise. The theory has huge implications for the James Bond franchise. Daniel Craig James Bond Skyfall Raoul Silva. If the Raoul Silva Pierce Brosnan theory were true, it would have massive implications for the James Bond franchise and bridge the gap between the series' original run from Connery through to Brosnan and the hard reboot timeline that kick-started with Casino Royale. The continuity of Judi Dench's M within both eras is the glue that sticks this idea together, and all of the theory's details align well with Silva's pre-established backstory as a former MI6 operative turned cyber-terrorist. To accept this theory would connect the entire James Bond franchise into one cohesive whole and would confirm the long-standing theory that Bond's name was actually a code name. This idea would recontextualize the mythos of Bond and provide insight into a lineage of failed operatives and the long-standing mental toll of working for MI6. With Silva as a cautionary tale that embodied the dark route an agent could go down, Silva also acts as an interesting meta-commentary on the legacy of the franchise, as he's more concerned with classic Bond gadgetry, while Craig represented the realism of modern times. The most interesting aspect of this theory relates to the characterization of M, as it adds emotional depth to her story and an even more powerful sense of tragedy to her ultimate demise. With Silva not only representing an embittered former agent but actually being the same James Bond M had worked with countless times before, this theory brings out themes of betrayal, loyalty, and guilt. With MS professional choices actually being paired with an eternal shadow of personal guilt, there's an almost Shakespearean narrative arc to Silva's quest for revenge. The problems with James Bond's Raoul Silva Pierce Brosnan theory. The theory falls apart upon close inspection. This theory offers so many interesting insights into both the Brosnan and Craig eras that it's easy to get overexcited and fail to recognize just how many problems there are with it. The biggest issue with this idea relates to the canonical inconsistencies of the name James Bond being simply a code name. While viewers have long speculated about this possibility, Skyfall explicitly contradicted this when it showed the gravestone for James Bond's parents, Andrew and Monique Delacroix Bond. While Silva's backstory does feel like it could align with Brosnan's Bond, the truth is that there are enough inconsistencies with their characterization to prove they're not the same person. Silva was revealed to be a former MI6 cyberterrorism expert in Hong Kong and was not a field agent like Brosnan's Bond. With no indication that Silva possessed the same skill set and knowledge as 007, the way he goes about enacting his revenge against M does not align with him previously working under the codename James Bond. As a viewer, it's exciting to connect the dots and see the potential links between different characters across the many eras of James Bond. While it's only natural to try to conjure up a grand narrative that can embody the timeline from Dr. No right through to No Time to Die, the truth is that the James Bond series was given a hard reset with the release of Casino Royale, and as a franchise that thrives on reinvention, it's important to look toward the future and not always dwell on the past.